everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be doing the January book tag. This was created by Jan Agaton and I will link her YouTube video for this tag down in the description below. And this is the January book tag, not just the January book tag, because Jan is the one who created this and Jan is in January. This is a 10-question tag, sort of starting off the year with your sort of goals and reflecting on last year and questions like that, so I'm very excited to be doing this tag. The first question is, what was the last and first, if you remember, book you read last year? I do remember, and I also have Goodreads, so if I didn't remember I could just look it up. So the first book that I read last year was The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. This is the final book in the Narnia series, and I really hated it. So I started last year off on a really bad foot, but I ended it on a pretty good foot because I ended the year with Attack on Titan Volume 7, because I've been slowly working my way through that series. It is so good. It's a manga series. I just like any sort of like post-apocalyptic zombie Titan type stuff, so I really like Attack on Titan, and I was glad that I finished the year with a book that I actually enjoyed. Question number 2 is, what is your first read this year? I already finished this one, but my first read of this year was an arc of She Gets the Girl by Rachel Lippincott and Alison Derrick. This was a 4-star read for me. I really enjoyed this one, and this one is coming out in April, I think. This is a lesbian romance novel that is sort of enemies to lovers. I wouldn't say it's like enemies, it's like mutual hatred of each other to lovers. It's a really good book and I highly recommend it. Number 3, share 3 of your reading goals this year. Well, I made a whole video on my reading goals, but in case you haven't seen that yet, 3 of my goals were to read at least 3 historical fiction books, to read 55 books at least in total, and to read at least 5 iBooks on the iBooks app on my phone. Number 4, share 3 of your most anticipated titles. This is another one that I made a whole video on, but in case you didn't watch that video, some books that were on my list were Breaking Time by Sasha Alsberg, Tiger Honor by Yoon-Ha Lee, which is a sequel to Dragon Pearl, which I believe is out now, or it will be out soon, so I really need to go buy that book. And the third one that I'm going to be sharing for today is One for All by Lily Lainoff. This has been one that I've been looking forward to for such a long time. There's chronic illness rep in it. It's a Three Musketeers inspired story. I'm very excited for all 3 of these books. Question number 5, which goals did you reach / not reach last year? Luckily, I reached all of my goals last year. Last year was not like a great year mental health wise, but I really had a good reading year. I read 102 books and I completed all my reading goals, so I'm very proud of my reading for last year, and I'm actually very proud of my mental health progress from last year. Just like I definitely had a roller coaster of mental health issues last year. Sometimes I was doing good, sometimes not so good, you know? Anyway, so the goals that I set for 2021 that I reached were I finished the Mortal Instrument series, I had to finish City of Lost Souls, City of Heavenly Fire, and then I read Jocelyn's Story, which is this like short story novella thing that was a deleted scene from one of the earlier books in the series. And I'll actually link Jocelyn's Story down in the description below. It was originally on Cassandra Clare's website, but then it got taken down off the website, but you can still read it on Wikipedia. And I just feel like not enough people know about Jocelyn's Story, so I'll link that down in the description below if you want to read it. And then I read 3 nonfiction books, and my goal was to read 52 books, but I read 102, so obviously I succeeded that because I read 50 books over my goal. Question number 6, are there 2022 releases you've heard of that you have no desire to read? Not really. I mean, I'm sure there's some that I wouldn't read because I don't like to explore some genres. I don't like to read thriller and horror and erotica that often, so I'm sure like there's books in that genre that I would not be interested in, but I haven't really seen any 2022 releases for those ones. But yeah, I've just seen like a ton that I want to read that are coming out this year, and I haven't seen as many that I haven't wanted to read that are coming out this year. Question number 7, what are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any? So I have 2, and I don't know if I will be successful at changing them. One of the things I do while I'm reading is I count forward how many pages that are left in the chapter, and then I'm like, as I'm reading, I'm focusing on the story, but my brain is also going like 3 pages left, 2 pages left, 1 page left. And I don't know if it's like part of my OCD, I don't know what, but like I don't like doing that. I feel like that takes away from the joy of reading if you're just focusing on how many pages left until the next chapter break, how many pages left until the end of the book. Like I hate how my brain does that, and I hope maybe I can somehow stop that this year. And then another reading habit I want to change is I have a habit of starting a series, then reading like 50 books in between reading the first book and the second book. And then by the time I pick up the second book or other sequels, I am thoroughly confused, can't remember anything, and I'm just not like vibing with it. And I think that has like sometimes impacted my thoughts on later books in a series. So I really want to get better at like reading the books in the series like back to back. Like I know it's unrealistic to binge read a 7-book series for me because I have to read arcs, and so I try and read a book for fun, then an arc which is still for fun, but like I have more of a commitment with it than another book for fun. So like I want to get better at just like reading one arc in between books in a series, just finish all these series that I've started. But I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but I hope I can, because I just keep getting mad at myself for reading 50 books in between books in a series and then forgetting everything. Like, it's not fun. Number 8, are there any adaptations you're excited about? Yeah, there is actually quite a ton. I'm gonna be talking about 2 that I have read the books for that I'm excited for, but there's also a lot that I haven't read the books for that I'm still very excited for, like One of Us is Lying. That one looks really good. So for ones that I've read the books for that are being adapted soon that I'm very excited for, first up is Heartstopper. I love the Heartstopper graphic novel so much, and I don't know if it's being made into a movie or a series, but either way I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to be cute and wholesome, and it's going to be so heartwarming. And then another one that I'm excited for is the Uglies movie adaptation. I love the Uglies series. It's so underrated, and I've been waiting for it to be made into a movie series for such a long time. I know it's starring Joey King, and a lot of people don't like Joey King, but I like her, and I like Uglies, so I think it'll be a fun combination for me. One thing that I'm a little worried about, or a little confused how they'll do that, is I don't know if you know anything about the Uglies world, but basically you're like an ugly until you reach a certain age, and then you get a surgery to look different and to look perfect and pristine. And I'm like, how would you show that in a movie? Isn't that gonna be weird? Anyways, very much looking forward to both of these 2 adaptations, and I highly recommend reading both of these series if you haven't already, and hopefully they can get you excited for the adaptations that will be hitting screens soon. Number 9, favorite bookish memory of last year. Besides just reading some new favorite books, I think my number 1 favorite bookish memory of last year was that, well, it's bittersweet. It's not fully like a happy memory, but it was like fun. You'll see what I mean. So I went to my favorite Barnes & Noble when it was closing, and I bought a ton of books, a ton of awesome stuff, and it was sad because it was closing, but it was fun because I got to see the store in a different light with like tons of stuff off the shelves. Like, I love going in stores when they're closing and just seeing how different it looked. And also I got like tons of stuff for way cheaper. I sort of went crazy, spent a ton of money, but it was so much fun. And question number 10 is carryovers from last year that you still plan on finishing. I actually don't have any, so when I was noticing that it was getting towards the end of the year last year, I started to read a bunch of mangas because I wanted to make sure that I had finished all the books that I started in 2021 before 2022 started, and so I just purposely read mangas that I knew I could read in one sitting so that I could start the new year with a fresh slate, and it worked out pretty well for me, so I don't have any carryovers, and I'm very happy with that. I've had carryovers in the past and I didn't mind them, but something about just having no carryovers felt so nice and relieving. So that was all for the January book tag. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. If you would like to do this book tag, I will have all of the questions down in the description below, and feel free to consider yourself tagged. I don't really tag people whenever I do tag videos, so if you want to do it, just go ahead and do it. Consider yourself tagged. I upload videos twice a week, so my next video will be coming out this Friday. I hope to see all of you there for that video, and until next time, goodbye!